Don't you just hate it when something old and reliable turns out to be, well, unreliable? What would you do if your trusty favorite car was actually an environmentally destructive package in disguise? Well, today we're going to be talking about one such car that perfectly exemplifies that. It has been dubbed as a diesel dupe, and when it came out, it shocked millions of car owners across the globe. Toyota and General Motors have had their fair share of scandals. So today, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Volkswagen Diesel-Skandal and its aftermath. What exactly did Volkswagen do? How big did their scandal get? And what were the repercussions of their dastardly deeds? This is Business Explained. Let's get to it. Volkswagen was established in 1937 in Berlin by the German Labor Front. Back then, owning a car was a luxury, and the Germans were looking for cost-effective modes of transportation. Thus, the people's car was born. Volkswagen came to the United States by October 1955 in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, to standardize the car's dealership service in the country. By 1970, Volkswagen had captured 7% of the United States car market. The car company continued to develop, and during the late 2010s, Volkswagen had taken over the United States passenger car diesel market, accounting for roughly 70% of the cars in the market. Now, Volkswagen promoted clean diesel in an effort to promote the environmentally friendly vehicles. However, this was nothing but a mere ruse. What did Volkswagen do? The whole thing actually seems like a plot straight out of a conspiracy movie. Apparently, since 2009, Volkswagen had been installing devices in the engines of their supposedly clean diesel vehicles, which only worked to prevent pollution whenever the cars were tested for their emission. These devices are also known as defeat devices, and they have the ability to detect when they are being tested, and they can make the car's performance adjust accordingly to reflect Volkswagen's supposedly environmentally friendly image. The device could detect steering, throttle, and other types of inputs that a car could do to switch between operating modes. Shocking, I know. And it seems that they would have gotten away with it much longer if someone didn't tip off regulators. The whole ordeal was uncovered by the Environmental Protection Agency, and needless to say, they were livid when they found out. Not only did Volkswagen lie to regulators, the authorities, and their entire consumer base, but they were also reckless in their claims of being environmentally friendly. They were doing more harm than people were actually aware of, and they were able to get away with it for quite some time. Volkswagen had installed this device on over 500,000 diesel cars across the United States, and the device can also be found on over 10.5 million vehicles worldwide. These vehicle models include the Audi A3, which is manufactured by Volkswagen, the Jetta, the Beetle, the Gold, and the Passat. Researchers had tipped off both the Environmental Protection Agency and the California Air Resources Board about Volkswagen's dirty little secret. The scandal also exploded during a time that people were becoming more concerned about both their individual and collective impact on the planet. The reason that Volkswagen's cars became a big hit in the United States market in the first place was because they had this huge marketing campaign that heralded Volkswagen's vehicles having low emissions. However, in reality, Volkswagen cars shut off their emission control software during normal driving conditions to achieve greater fuel economy and give the car more power. The result? The vehicle would then produce over 40 times more pollution than the amount allowed by law. Yikes! When they were caught here, Volkswagen owned up to it, admitting that they were using the defeat device in their cars' diesel engines. On top of the diesel scandal, the Environmental Protection Agency also accused Volkswagen of modifying software on the 3-liter diesel engines meant to fit some Audi, Porsche, and Volkswagen models. If that were the case, around 10,000 vehicles would be affected by the software. Volkswagen denied these allegations. So what happened after the car giant was exposed? Well, all hell broke loose. Nah, I'm just kidding, but a lot of people were pretty pissed about what happened. Volkswagen was demanded to recall over 482,000 of its vehicles that have been fitted with this device. Initially, they were facing fines of up to $18 billion and could have been slapped with criminal charges. On the 28th of June 2016, the car giant agreed to pay a settlement of $15.3 billion, which to date is the largest fine an auto company has had to pay in US history. Volkswagen's American boss, Michael Horn, admitted that they did, in fact, totally screw up. Martin Ritterkorn, the group's chief executive at the time, was distraught that they had broken the trust of their customers and the general public, and he resigned as a result of the scandal. He was replaced by Matthias Müller, former boss of Porsche. Upon taking on the new position, this is what Müller had to say. My most urgent task is to win back trust for the Volkswagen Group by leaving no stone unturned. What are your thoughts on the Volkswagen Diesel-Skandal? Does this change your perspective on products that claim to be environmentally friendly? Do you think that Volkswagen got what they deserved? What do you think should be done to better check and regulate commodities that claim to be clean and green? Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment them down below in the comments section and I will be responding to all of you who comment during the first hour of me posting this video. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out my other video called Apple, how Apple stocks compare to competitors. There are still many industries still undergoing the recovery period from the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, but it seems that major tech companies are leading the pack in terms of bouncing back and staying afloat during these tough times. Today we're going to be talking about one such big tech company. In fact, it's one of the biggest consumer tech companies in the world today. You've guessed it, we're going to be talking about Apple and how its stocks are faring in such a tumultuous business environment. In spite of the global pandemic, it seems that Apple had a pretty good year. In fact, compared to other smartphone companies and manufacturers, Apple has been far less negatively impacted by lockdowns and community quarantine periods implemented across the globe. Just in September, it was reported that Apple's share jumped way up high after it released its second quarter earnings. The company rose to a market cap of over a whopping $2 trillion. However, a lot of investors are still thinking of whether or not Apple stock should be bought. How has Apple stock been faring recently? How is Apple doing for its fourth quarter? And how does its performance compare to that of its key competitors? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be diving into in Apple, how Apple stocks compare to competitors. So check it out and join me as we take a closer look at how Apple stocks are doing. Stay tuned, stay educated.